So Hot 97 shocks the culture by canceling Ebro in the morning. Ebro has theorized that his outspoken progressive political commentary and anti-establishment views were deemed a liability by the station's corporate ownership. So there's a video of him explaining, kind of how he feels after everything has happened, and then we'll go into a couple questions.
The guy that owns the shit owns one of the casino licenses. He got to raise $500,000, bro. $500 million, excuse me. They need my shit talking anti-Netanyahu, anti-government, progressive shit out the way, bro. They need me out the way. They trying to get to these bags that these VCs got, raise some capital. They don't give a about hip-hop or black music or black community. None of that. They give a about access. They give a about being able to bring their little nerdy friends to the concerts, because that helps them raise money.
Pretty much has it in his mind as to what's really going on here. So in the wake of Ebro in the Morning's cancellation, how will the role of the hip-hop gatekeeper potentially change?
Are we considering him a gatekeeper, or are you just speaking in general?
Excellent question.
I think a lot of people consider him a gatekeeper.
I don't think so.
That's just me. I think even your boy who's we never mention him, but academics talking about him gatekeeping.
This dude's still around.
Yeah, he is, unfortunately.
Come on, man.
I think that's on some whole other shit. But as far as the question that you're posing, the Ebro cancellation, how will the role of hip hop gatekeeping change? I don't think it does anything. Honestly, because I don't see them as anybody that holds the keys to the gate. And a lot of people don't even like, all right, when we talk about generations or age groups of people that pay attention to what they say, it's more leaning towards our era, and that's pretty much it. I don't feel like the younger generation are thinking of, oh, I can't wait to go on Ebro and have this conversation with him. It's going to get my foot in the door. They could care less about Ebro. I don't know if you remember the conversation with...
What's about Wale?
No.
Uzi?
Uzi. No, actually, it wasn't even Uzi. Y'all throwing me out.
Kodak.
Kodak. That's who
Kodak. It was one of those three.
Yeah. So that interview went south because Kodak didn't want to talk about certain things and pretty much let it be known, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, it was an open case too.
Ebro pretty much was like, well, you can get off the show. You can leave right now if you want to.
And he did.
These kids don't want that energy. They could care less about that. They would rather do something to make them go viral and make you feel some pain. They don't care nothing about me helping your show at all. So I feel like the whole gatekeeping thing is way past as far, especially radio is concerned, because more people are listening to stuff on social media. This is actually a blessing for them if they're able to capitalize off the opportunity that they've received, because they're not employed by anybody right now.
Right.
So you get to take your platform that you've already established for the past 20 years, and if you have true fans, you start your YouTube show like you're going to do, and you move from there. All of that money is going to be yours. I mean, YouTube's going to get their cut, but YouTube pays out very well. There's people that are rich off of YouTube.
Absolutely.
So you don't actually need the radio station to make your show continue to succeed. If anything, it was holding you back. So it's actually a blessing in disguise, in my personal opinion.
What you think, Kinetik?
Man, I feel the same way. At this point, radio's motives have always been kind of the same, to capitalize on talent until it's not there anymore. It's kind of a farming attitude. We're going to farm this land until we got to rotate these crops or whatever. But if I was them, I don't know if I'd be that worried about it. Because you really can do whatever you want to do. Because who's going to check? I mean, at that point, you don't have to answer to nobody. Now, to his point about why he got fired. Okay, I could see that. I mean, there's a lot of money that floats around and people don't want to touch, certain ideas. That doesn't surprise me, but
your next venture, you'll be able to say whatever the hell you want.
Yep. You can say whatever he wants, and the people that care about it will be there. But I don't know if I would call him a gatekeeper. I don't know who's like, let me see what Ebro has to say. I don't know nobody that's doing that.
For sure. Jump in there, Long. What you think? Oh, my fault. Were you done, bro?
Nah, I just think in my head, like, I mean, if there are people doing that, I'd love to talk to them and ask them why that's who they go to.
Fair enough.
You know.
Jump in, Long. What you think?
I mean, they've been doing it for a very long time. So shouts to them. Being on the radio for 12, 13 years is a significant thing.
True.
You know, one of the major markets. And to be super consistent in what their messaging has been throughout the years, I think is super cool. You know, I like the angles, and, you know, I may not agree with Ebro all the time, but I like what he's done, and I like what he represents, and, you know, that I would agree. You know, and those nature, and everything of that nature. But the gatekeeping thing is, it's interesting because, like, to your guys' point, radio doesn't have this stronghold over things as much as, like, almost Ebro kind of wants to kind of lay it out to be. I've always got the feeling from Ebro every time I've seen him when he's like super outspoken that he kind of holds himself to a high regard. Like he holds himself as important. Like he's got this self-importance almost as he kind of conducts himself. Mm-hmm. And it almost comes across as elitist in a way.
Absolutely.
Even from a media perspective, you know, like I'm on the radio, you know, and now he's not. And, you know, I don't remember who said it, but I 100% agree that this is a blessing in disguise for him and them. And I hope that they capitalize off what this potentially could be for them as complete ownership of everything that they're doing, not having to be like, they can still do everything they were doing.
Literally. And
completely own their platform now. Like this is great. So yeah, but as far as gatekeeping is concerned, you know, we're our own gates at this point. Like,
and you know what else too is they actually weren't even shooting this show in the studio because they were complaining that there was like mice and roaches or something.
Oh, really?
So they were shooting the show on an off location anyway. So all they got to do is just continue to do that, and put it out on YouTube.
And they already have an episode. They already have one episode out.
Yeah, I mean, so keep doing it.
They got the production team, and
yeah. Hell, most of the time you would see one of them remote in anyway.
Yeah, so, Rosenberg remoted in all the time.
All the time, yeah. Laura Stout, like, to his point, like, they've already been doing it. You know, they've already been doing it. I know with Ebro, to Lone's point, I do agree with, I guess, who he, in his mind, you know, how he perceives himself. I know he's in control of a lot of playlists as well on Apple. But even with that, you know, how powerful is that? You know, especially coming from someone of his, you know, like him. But I think y'all right on the money with that. Jay, go ahead and close it out. What do you think, bro, based off what everybody said?
Honestly, a lot of you, and I hate saying this just because I know the ageism that persists in hip hop. Yeah. But, you know, a lot of you old motherfuckers need to get off the radio.
Oh, man.
I mean, like, you call yourself Old Man Ebro and you trying to still be of, it almost comes off as silly. And I'll say that for the Breakfast Club, you know, as well. Because sometimes it's like, y'all are grown-ups, super duper grown-ups. And it comes across like sometimes, you know, something will happen and Charlemagne and Envy will be like, I wish we didn't have to talk about this. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know, it was something that was like, they've literally said something. It was something that happened in the news about some reality show person. They're like, I wish we didn't know any of this information. It's not really any of our business. And that's what being older and having a certain level of wisdom comes with. You're not in a place where you care about the bullshit that honestly moves the needle in the culture the way, you know, even when I was in the club with, you know, shout out to DJ Lockstar, and we were playing to a much younger crowd. Like, we had to do a certain level of research to even be cool. You know, because these are not the records that we listen to in our spare time. This is what we do to get money.
Do your Googles.
You know, so I think there's part of it to where, hey, is there something about his anti-establishment takes that might have got him off the radio? I think that's part of it. But I think part of it is like when you're in a certain place for a certain amount of time and your contract always comes up and, you know, they're not going to take money off of the amount of money that you're working with. A lot of this has to do with people who have the venture capitalist mindset. And they're going to see, okay, we cannot continue to pay this much money to make this much money in advertising. We can pull this back. It might cost us a percentage of what that person was making. So it winds up being, you can take all the political, you know, stuff out of it. I'm sorry, I started this with cursing, so I'm trying to do better. And I'm just saying, like, you have to, you know, you can see it. It's from media to sports to, we see all these things that are happening with these large media conglomerates, Warner Brothers, Paramount Plus, Skydance. They're all going to find a way to make things happen and cut costs, and it's not something that anybody is going to be shielded from. Once again, I know people are like, oh yeah, he's probably going to mention something about how he used to work in radio. Yeah, it is what it is. But I just remember when there were certain people who you'd call them institutions in the space of radio, specifically within black radio. And you think, oh, this person is always going to be on the radio till they don't want to be on the radio anymore. And then some new bean counters come in and they say, nah, we're not only are we not extending your contract and paying you more money, we don't want to insult you by paying less. So we're just going to get rid of you overall. So I think that's it's business, guys.
It is business,
and they'll find somebody younger and cheaper, and maybe there'll be some of the old folks will stick around and they'll quietly take less money so they can maintain their spot. Because that's the harsh thing about radio is it doesn't really train you to do anything else.
But didn't they replace them with Flex?
No, that was just
a one day. And once again, Flex has been there for two. Flex has been on the same spot for 30 years. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, he gave up that spot. Flex gave up.
That's right.
He gave up that spot.
But honestly, once again, Flex don't want to play these new records.
Nah.
Flex doesn't care.
Well, he's more worried about New York being in the same position that they were back in the 90s. But one of the things that happened with Ebro and them too, Wayno actually brought this up on his podcast. They have not been earners for that radio station for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say that it's politically charged that you were let go. But when you talk about
y'all been losing to the Breakfast Club for a long time.
Yeah, a company that wants to be lucrative and you're not adding to our finances, and we're pretty much just hanging on to you based off of you being important to the culture and aspect. They cut ties. I mean,
were they on the same time slot? Were they on the same time slot?
That I don't know.
What, for who?
Ebro and Charlemagne, the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, they're direct competition.
But they're not syndicated the same way that.
But even in New York, Breakfast Club beats Hot 97 on.
That's why I was saying I don't see them as gatekeepers because I don't feel like that model is not the same model that it was. So it doesn't. We don't have to go sit down with y'all to have a conversation because. I hate to say that y'all don't matter, but
the first stop is Breakfast Club. Then if you got some time, you go.
Then you go to Angela Yee,
then you go to Angie Martinez.
The same people they interview come right back and sit down with her in the same day.
Right.
But like another thing, Ebro is kind of like he said elitist and he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people might not want to be involved with that, and. Not to mention, it's just an outdated format at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I will say this: radio still has its value because, hey, if you gotta get up and go somewhere in the morning.
Oh yeah,
There's still people who they still depend on you because you tell me you listen to the Breakfast Club in real time.
Every day.
Yeah. But I feel like at the same time, you probably listen to the Breakfast Club even if you had to tune into something like. Are people really listening to radio like that? Is that especially from a younger perspective?
No.
That's what I'm curious about. Because one of the arguments was, get the old people out of the way. But I feel like the older our generation and higher and older are the ones that are listening to the radio. Maybe I'm just out of touch, but I feel like people are consuming media differently now, and maybe I'm wrong.
Because you don't even have to listen to the radio to listen to the Breakfast Club.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like if you wanted to listen to the Breakfast Club or Ebro in the morning, it doesn't really have to. The radio is just a place to get a check. I'm just saying.
I mean, I was surprised. I know some teenagers that know B Swift.
Really?
Yeah. And know him from the radio. They flat out told me that. They're
that's cool.
That's the dude from the radio. I'm like, I'm like, dang, I didn't, because then when I talked to him, he was like, I didn't even know they, I didn't know they would know me like that. Because he, he's aware of the listenership. So you're not wrong. Because I can't remember last time I turned on the radio.
I can't either.
Well, listen to Ebro's, when you listen to Ebro in the morning and they open the phone lines, listen to the people that are calling in. It's people our age.
Yeah.
Same thing, all of them.
Same thing on Breakfast Club. Ain't no young people
calling
calling the radio.
No. I mean, that's what I meant to say. I'm sorry, Breakfast Club. It's grown folks calling in. 100%. Every single time. Even in the summer when school's out, it's still grown
I was gonna
folks
say,
calling
yeah,
in.
you know,
You know what I'm saying? So that's their base.
yeah, because some of it is generationally, the radio just doesn't mean the same thing anymore.
I'm
It just
very,
doesn't.
I'm just very curious
You know?
what the radio is going to mean in like 5-10 years. You know, if it's really going to have such a stronghold as it's always had, especially from the advertising space. You know, people.
It depends on
I
how
don't
you're look. When I get into the car, the first thing that I do is turn on the Bluetooth. I'm either listening to a podcast or I turn on, whatever I'm trying to listen to on Tidal. I don't ever think to turn on, let me see what's popping, on the radio. I used to be heavy into sports talk, but now I can listen to Bomani Jones' show, through YouTube media or whatever. I can pick and choose what I want to listen to in a little bit of time that I have in my commute. And so like, I'm not forced to like get into the car and there's already commercials playing. I'm like, hell no.
Yeah.
The only thing about radio is it's one of the last freeways for people to listen to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll always
That's
exist
fair.
because of that.
Yeah.
I take that back. I still do listen to NPR,
You know,
every once in a while. Like,
I mean, you could technically YouTube.
but I could listen to the NPR through an app.
Could YouTube?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's an option for me to do that. And I just think that, look, man, we're living through major shifts in the media landscape, whether it be television, movies. They talked about the downturn in Hollywood. I was like, this is what y'all just going to start getting used to.
yeah.
Yeah. I am very curious, like how this media landscape is moving forward. Like, all right, cool. That's another major radio staple gone.
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club remains. They're kind of like the sole ones out there for the most part. I mean, I know
With
that
that type of following,
in that general, like, so depending on what, one of you guys brought up the fact that Netflix is buying, it's something that came out today, something about Netflix.
Well, they're going to be streaming The Breakfast Club, Joe and Jada, and Rory and Mal are going to be. You're going to be able to watch those on Netflix.
I wonder if it's live or if it's...
I'm sure because Netflix is getting into a lot of live shows.
There's some boxing match this week.
Yeah, boxing matches live, WWE wrestling
Hell,
matches
NFL
live.
football on Christmas.
Yeah,
Aren't they taking over UFC? UFC's leaving ESPN.
UFC's going
I
on
forget.
Paramount.
yeah. So
It's interesting to try to compete with YouTube on that. I don't know how that's going to work.
that's what I'm saying, man. Like YouTube, like I know we have our thoughts about Spotify, but somebody that's Ebro or a show like that, YouTube, you eat. There's people that get rich off of YouTube.
Absolutely.
You're already financially stable.
Yeah.
All you're doing is moving your model over to YouTube and just continue to move forth. I mean,
They're going to be
I
fine.
don't see it as a problem at all, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Drink Champs has been doing the same thing for how long?
I would not trip. Shout out to Curtis King. He talked about how the thing that we do now, we are the current 106 in Park, the MTV News, the
Rap City.
We're all of that combined in a place where you can pick and choose which show you want to watch.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then another one's going to feed the algorithm that pretty much is based off of your interests anyway.
Right.
So why not want to be a part of that versus, okay, I'm only pinned into 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. I can shoot this show at whatever time I decide I want to shoot it. I can go live whenever I want to shoot it. I already have an audience. It's a win-win situation.
You can easily collaborate with the peers, like, I mean, you see Rap Latte collaborating with Curtis King and Justin Hunt collaborating with all them, plus all these people over here. Fantano's getting on there, and it's just cross. It's like this full on do-it-yourself.
Rules.
Yeah, and
nobody can
Which
tell
is a
you
good thing.
you can't work with Curtis King because he says something I don't like. You can just go ahead and work with him.
Yeah.
If you think this said artist is dope, have him on. Because in radio, they'll give you a playlist and say, if you deviate from said playlist in the mix show, you could get fired.
That's your only stipulation on YouTube. If you want to make money off of it, just don't put any music in it. It might strike you down, or they get paid for it now because you include their music. People are here for the conversation anyway.
Right.
Unless also from a musician standpoint, even if they're playing records on the radio, right?
Mhm.
And got this massive audience that potentially is being played. You know, the United States of America is the only place, only country where you don't get paid from your master recording if your record is played on the radio.
Right.
You
That's
only
tough.
get paid as a writer publisher. So even if you don't have your publishing set up and you're not even making money off this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's another random piece.
And not making very much, even if you do have it set up.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I mean,
I don't know. For me, I think it reminds me of a time before major labels. I mean, everything was independent. So I think that just people have broke corporate back. Like, okay, you can fire us. If I was them, I'd be like, all right, well, bet. I
Yeah.
mean,
Not true.
you know, we'll just go do what we've been doing, and we won't have to worry about what y'all say. We don't have to pay y'all.
You know, even
You know,
when you think about somebody like Stephen Colbert, who this says his show's going to end, he has an infrastructure and a following where it's like, okay, that's fine. I just won't be on CBS.
right?
You know, I can go ahead and, you know, if I want to go ahead and DIY, you know,
Shout out to
Curtis King once again. I can go ahead and do that. You know, I know at one point Steve Harvey was doing that. Like, I think he's still doing.
Steve Harvey got 20 jobs.
Yeah, I think he. But you know, when they took his talk show off the air, he was like, "Okay, I'm still going to film a talk show, and I'm going to put the clips on YouTube." You know, so I just think that we're at this place where at one point, if somebody in one of these ivory towers said, "You're not going to be on TV anymore. You're not going to be on the radio anymore," that was it. You were done. And like, we're not in that place anymore.
Not at
And
all.
I think people have to have a different kind of thought process if they feel like they have even the smallest of followings outside of working with these large media corporations. They need to be like, okay, well, if I can only take 25% of those people with me, then come on, let's go.
Yeah, because if it's profitable, once you do it on your own, the companies are going to come to you
That's
because
right.
they're going to want to get a piece of what you're already receiving. Just like we just talked about the Breakfast Club going over to Netflix. They work for a radio station, but they have a podcast, so to speak, as well. And now they'll be getting a check from Netflix. Talk about Rory and Mal are exclusively online. Now they're getting a Netflix check as well. Joe and Jada exclusively online, YouTube. Now they're getting a Netflix check as well. So the corporation is coming to these individuals because they're not able to employ the talent like that.
Right.
So now that you've already got something established, okay, well, let me get a piece of it being that corporation. You give us, you know what I'm saying, 40%, you take 60, and we're able to make a little bit of money now, even though you're not signed to us. That deal can go south, and I'm still doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, because
Regardless.
we put
These-
you on a W-9
Yeah.
and pay you a 1099.
There you go.
Get your head cracked on taxes. That's how they ain't worried about it.
No.
These
Don't pay you benefits, you know, no
these
retirement.
companies know what they're doing. Like in the release here, it says the iconic talk show, The Breakfast Club, will begin streaming on Netflix in 2026 after iHeartMedia announced a partnership with the platform on Tuesday. The deal will see a total of 15 iHeartRadio podcasts added to Netflix, including the ones Terry was talking about. But Chelsea, it says, Dear Chelsea, Bobby Bones presents the Bobby Cast. I don't know who these people are, but they must be doing something
Chelsea
right.
Handler, I think.
Chelsea,
Okay.
actually.
My Favorite Murder and more. And then it talks about the Bob Pittman, who's the CEO. He says audio podcasting has been the fastest growing medium over the past 20 years. And now we're thrilled to expand that experience with an exciting new category, video podcasts. So they know what they know.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
They
They
know.
gonna get their money
They're
too.
about to get their
And plus,
bag.
you got to understand, you know, they got to make some sort of inroads with these content creators because the largest streaming service is YouTube.
Yes.
Still.
Yeah, because I tell you what, if it came down to it, it said which streaming service, if you can only keep one, I'm keeping YouTube Premium.
Absolutely.
100%.
Without a
100%.
doubt.
On blood.
I'll go back to just buying music.
For sure.
Facts.
Yeah, because
Facts.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
I'll if I gotta see a movie,
Man,
if I
you
gotta
done
go to
put
the
a-
movies,
You don't
I
put
just
an
have to
idea
go.
on your boy. I'm over here sitting like, damn, I might need to go on and do that.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at them. This makes sense. Go get that paper.
Because they gonna
Diversify that portfolio. Do
they're
what you
gonna
got to
get
do.
it.
Yeah,
And
they
then
get
the
it
other
regardless.
part of it, if they want to be, I wouldn't even call it petty. If they want to be real about it, you know they're gonna talk about how they ended up there.
They already
True.
did.
You
First
know.
episode's already out.
Yeah.
True.
And then you know, court of public opinion is gonna make a decision on that. Yeah, we already know who they're gonna side with. Ain't nobody siding with,
And
no
this-
major corporation.
That
No,
part.
and it works for
You know.
both parties because there's people that don't look at podcasts on YouTube like that.
Mhm.
People that watch Netflix religiously. So now they got a new category. Oh, there's podcasts on there that I can watch. I don't have to sit there and listen.
Yep.
So now they're getting hip to podcasts that way.
Gotta say that accessibility is crazy.
Come
It's
on,
right
man.
there.
Because
It's
the
right
user
there.
interface is already designed for a high user experience. You
Yeah,
know,
man. So whenever Netflix decides to want to sign a new Old Heads, because we have video content as
Come
well.
on.
We have video, we have
Mhm.
audio, we have streaming on all platforms
Mhm.
except for Spotify. Well, it
I-
might be up there right now, but
I think
it's coming off.
It's coming.
Yeah. So
It's
And as
Yeah,
the
so if y'all have a
manager,
deal-
I would like to
Yeah, if you're listening right now on Spotify,
check my business card.
go ahead and go on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, or get your
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts on because
Yeah.
shouts to Rap Juggernaut for calling us out. He was correct.
yeah, he was.
So
Oh wow.
And Pat McAfee too. That deal still stands if you would like
If
to.
you'd like to bring us in the fold, if you
Yes.
you don't have any real music content over there,
Yeah.
and, you
We're
know,
not too far.
Not that far at all.
We
He
come,
definitely needs some soul power too.
Come
So,
on, man.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
so shout out to him. But like I said, and the thing is, this is what's crazy. Like I said, I don't know what Peter Colbert, Stephen Colbert is in the mindset to do, but say just hypothetically, his show's put out the door and it starts doing numbers in the online platform, and whatever CBS tries to replace it with, they may not even try to put in another talk show because that person might go rogue. They just put on episodes of Matlock or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But they start seeing that the numbers that from that time slot
That's
aren't doing,
crazy.
they could come right on back, and then Steve could run the bag up.
yeah.
But at the same time, what if here come Netflix? What if Paramount or one of these? No, it wouldn't be Paramount because that's already incestuous. If you will. But what if it's
You're right.
Yeah,
There's already I know what you mean.
but what if it's Amazon? And then he could look. Him getting fired might be the best thing that happened.
Yeah,
and
there's
it
nothing.
it might be the same thing for Ebro and Laura Styles and them.
They're going to be just
They're gonna be
fine.
fine.
They
It's the
already
perfect
had
situation.
deals.
They're
Peter
gonna be
Rosenberg
fine.
was doing
It's the
wrestling.
perfect situation.
He's doing ESPN.
They're
Rosenberg
gonna
ain't
be
hurt.
fine.
Yeah,
He called this months ago though.
yeah.
Like when Enough got fired, he alluded to, we work for a company. We can get let go at any time. They should have been plotting, planning, and scheming at that time.
I bet you they were.
Yeah,
I hope they
know.
were.
Who's to
Like
say
I
they
said,
weren't?
You know what I'm
they
saying?
already
If
have.
they
got
smart,
one.
they
They
would,
have an
you know.
updated logo and they have already dropped an episode.
Come
I
on.
respect
That
it.
doesn't
That's what
come.
they're
That
supposed to
doesn't
do.
come without preparation.
Hey,
100%.
I would say anybody who's in radio right now, you better get ready. You know what I'm saying? You better line up your contacts.
For sure.
If you and have a plan and a podcast and a logo ready to go, because I've seen the best people, the best personalities be let go and not have anywhere to land.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but anything corporate related
yeah.
and media.
Yeah, you got to know,
It's
especially
like-
right now, they're gonna make an excuse to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Even if they got the money, it's a perfect time to get rid of people.
You know what's crazy?
We talk about private equity. It is what it is.
It was crazy is we don't bring this name up that often, but I got to give credit where credit is due. If y'all remember that Breakfast Club interview with Kanye, where he says, if y'all ratings and stuff start tanking, they'll turn this office into a place for paper or something. That's exactly what just happened. It's literally what just happened to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know this though.
Well, yeah.
I mean, broken clock. Kanye's
Twice a day.
He's
Yeah.
right sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially on obvious stuff.
That was one of those two, though. That was one of those two. I
Yeah.
got to give him one of those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the reality of that, nobody want to hear that either.
Yeah.
That sounds scary. But in the industry, I'm not worried about. They gonna be all right. They
Oh,
gonna
they
be
fine. Anybody worry about them?
Yeah, it'll still be a Merry Christmas,
gonna be
Happy
just
Hanukkah
fine.
at their houses. You know what I'm saying? It's not a problem.
Yeah.
It don't
You
matter.
see, I see the car he was doing the video from.
Yeah, man.
You know what's
All
crazy?
right.
There's a lot of people, and I know we got to go to our next topic, but there's a lot of people rejoicing about them.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Did y'all see that? There's a lot of pockets.
Drake, academics.
Academics, Drake, yeah.
Glad was happy, calling them employees that should have done better, or some paraphrasing, but
I'm
it's a lot.
glad he's the poster child of come to YouTube. YouTube is death row
for
at
sure.
the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a
So-
lot of people.
How you
that
gonna
are
make
very
fun of somebody when they're coming to your platform?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And
Like-
gonna take your spot too.
I think that might have something to do with how I think Ebro had actually had some choice words to people that were doing that thing versus being on the radio.
Well, I know Elliot Wilson did
Elliot
Wilson.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
Elliot
that's the
Wilson.
radar.
corrected.
because he was just like,
Man.
in the journalist
Mm-hmm.
perspective,
Yeah.
like not real journalists and
Yep.
people are
Ego
taking
trip.
over and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
Well, you know,
Wow.
Good point, Lone. That's a
I don't
good
know if
point.
Ebro did, but
Elliot Wilson definitely was
I
out
know
there.
Elliot did.
Facts.
Okay.
You
I
know,
stand
it was-
corrected.
one of the OGs of this was Combat, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Combat
Jack-
was always operating in his
Podcast.
own space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the first
Rest in
hip hop
peace.
Rest
first
in
hip hop
peace.
podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He had
Yeah.
the vision.
well, you know, this is the thing, and I can
Talking to
say
Mike.
this. Oh yes, I can say this. You know, about myself is like I didn't understand the podcast space at all. You know, so even when Lone was talking to me about this is a long time, I can admit this about doing a podcast. I'm thinking as someone who I was still on the radio, it was public radio at the time, but still with the radio. I'm like, how do people listen to that in their cars? And like,
Mhm.
it was just hard for me to like even see the proliferation of what podcasts were going to become. And so there's a lot of people in the radio space who feel like I'm on the radio. Why do I need to be bothered with this internet foolishness? And there are a lot of people I was like, hey, you should have been involved with this internet foolishness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that they, real quick, and we can get out of here with this one, but like, I saw people mentioning the fact that like Ebro in the morning, they got 4 million followers on YouTube or something, but they're only getting like 2,000 views on videos and things of that nature.
I seen even a couple hundred.
And but the thing is that's just the nature of the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the nature of the algorithm and things of that nature. We know that all too well.
Absolutely.
So